passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
And we're live on Facebook. Hey, what's going on? Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson. And this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. I've been waiting all day to do this show. What the hell is going on in Cleveland? It's time officially to freak out. The Browns lose in Denver 24-19. So many topics to go over. Like why Kitchens should be using Nick Chubb in key running situations on third and fourth down, tackling issues. Don't tell Jermaine Whitehead why scoring touchdowns instead of field goals in the red zone helps. And let's see, our favorite distraction, Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and their shoes. Was it that, or was it Baker's mustache, which changed before the game, after the game, because, you know, that's what's important, all along with some Cavs, Indians, Gold Gloves, Chase Young, Heisman debate. But first,
Cleveland Browns.
I can't. I'm locked up right now. I'm so angry right now. But first, Andy,
bad.
Your third place, 2-6, Cleveland fucking Browns.
In a season of hopes and dreams, like a good toilet flush, we have flushed this all into one big swirling nightmare. If you would have talked to me last night, I was more into bitter hallucination. I can't even talk. Laughter. I was just laughing because can't believe how bad it has gotten here so quickly. Yeah. It all ended. I tweeted it out, and I really feel that way. The margin for error, which is a new term, which I like a lot. You know, it really came down to a fourth down play. Or of course, the Browns needed timeouts. They weren't prepared. They came back on. Baker throws in double coverage. OBJ goes streaking down the field open, doesn't hit him. The team was just overwhelmed the whole game.
Baker was late on that pass.
Yeah, of course. It just has turned into a total anarchy, and we're back to the same old story. 16, 17, not last year for the back half, but the first half of 18, 16, 17, and definitely this year, it is new ways to lose. This week, there was no penalties. There's no there were penalties, sorry, but the penalties were down. There were no turnovers, and yet the Browns still lose. Jarid, what I'm starting to see, though, which is the big topic this week, the fractions now are in place. There's the Freddie Island. There's the John Dorsey Island. There's the Landry and OBJ Island. There's the Baker Island. And then there's the defensive island probably, too. And you're starting to see the fractions, which we've seen before. And
apparently the secondary island.
And there's a secondary island, too. It's easy to go to a bunch of different places, but you know, it's all flooding in one direction, right? It's all flooding to a kitchen near you, and it's all coming downstream. And I think you should start there in this game when you watched it. And again, to my 10-year-old son, to anybody I was talking to today, I talked to Scott Rabb for a while, talking to some other people, and Jarid, it all comes back to Freddie Kitchens. And Freddie looked awful after that game. In the press conference, he looked weathered. He looked tired. It just really seemed like a guy who's just really overwhelmed by the situation.
You bothered to stay up and watch that? Because I certainly did not. I didn't want to hear a word from any of them. And we talk about this all the time, how I shut down after a loss. Yeah, I do. I thought maybe, you know what? Maybe I want to hear some. There's nothing. It's all lip service at this point. In fact, it's lip service so ridiculous right now that even on clevelandbrowns.com, the lead article, the lead public relations in full force and trying to throw some propaganda out. Freddie Kitchens emphasizes team-wide focus on execution following loss to Denver. Give me a break. 8 games, 6-2. You had 10 minutes more time of possession. You had a takeaway. You had 50 more yards.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. I mean, you want to talk about execution. That was a big topic. That was a big topic today in Monday's press conference.
He was more shell shocked yesterday. He was just shell shocked. He looked like a guy who had just never saw it coming. You could tell how surprised he was by the outcome. The big thing that is really becoming, all these coaches have these themes, and they all stick out. The one theme, there's 2 or 3 with Freddie, actually, which is not good. But the one theme that I think sticks out more outside of penalties is these timeouts that are misused in these dumb challenges. Jared, every one of these games, there's one of these fucking awful challenges. And it was the 4th and 1 call, which, by the way, was twofold. The play call was bad because it should have been given the ball to Nick Chubb. Why Nick Chubb wasn't on the field and why Hilliard's getting big runs, and we'll never know. That is again, obvious signs to anyone watching a game. Nick Chubb is on a different level, even as a player. Forget running back. He's a great running back. He's on a different level as an offensive player, and yet you're putting in Hilliard in big situations. You're lost. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Fine. You're going to put in a 6-foot quarterback to run a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. And then I'll be honest with you. I didn't think the spot was that terrible. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that terrible. Then you're going to challenge the
because
spot?
Baker got turned around and there was
He got turned around and the ball landed there. I didn't think the ball.
He might have. If they respotted it, they might have been able to give him a half a yard, but he was not going to get to that 4. He was not going to get to that first down marker. Period. Flat out.
No. And again, time, and there's so many challenge flags, and there's so many misused timeouts. And the thing that just starts to drive you crazy that we saw with Hugh, and we're really seeing with Freddie, even worse with Freddie now. Oh, I'm smarter than you. There's way too many of these goddamn situations now where you look at Freddie and you're just going, why on, like, there were so many times during this game, 1st and 10, where they'd run screen passes to Odell or a screen pass, and a screen pass would be 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Or the screen pass would just be it'd be like running in slow motion. That is the one thing that I don't understand what Freddie and Monken are doing. They have made fast players look really slow at times. They have made a team that's very athletic look very choppy.
Choppy's a great way to describe that.
No rhythm. It's just like sludging, and there was a really,
everything is painfully difficult.
Yes. And there was a bad play on the 3rd quarter where they threw a screen to OBJ, and even before he got it, he turned around. It's like, oh my God, he's like 5.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Jared, these are the type of things. Freddie just seems so overwhelmed by penalties in some games. This game, the penalties were better. Turnovers were better. But in this game, timeouts, challenges, play calls. And the thing is that the fractions are now here. You have these different islands, which we've all seen in Browns history. And now in this one, you have it all over the place. And it's really starting to show up. And Jared, the thing that's really concerning in this kind of game too, Freddie didn't coach against Pete Carroll or Bill Belichick. He coached against a first-year head coach with a quarterback making his first ever start in the NFL. And you couldn't tell by the middle of that game who was who.
I had a feeling.
Bad shit.
It was before that game. It was set up. It was primed.
Yeah, it was.
For that to happen exactly as it did. We knew that this was a potential shit show, because here's the bottom line. Come week in and week out, after what we saw, I mean, this is we thought, well, let's see, maybe the bye week they'll be able to find an identity, get their shit together.
Where's their magic pill? Maybe it's the bye week, right?
At the moment you saw that they didn't come out after the bye week and deliver, that's it. That's it. You have no other. You have nothing. You can look at the rest of the schedule, the rest of the year, and you could honestly predict, possibly correctly, that they don't win another game.
Oh, by the way, very true.
That's in play. That is now in play.
By the way, it's very true in play. By the way, if you were running on a big 3rd and 4, would you put Hilliard or Chubb in the game in a running play? Well, let's go.
They know better. Once again, Andy, it's like coaches, when they get to Cleveland, they become possessed.
They really do.
It's like they forget their fucking minds.
I don't know what's in that water in Berea, but drain it and just put it back in.
Tell me something. Tell me, Baker, tell me that I never played football. Tell me. You know what I mean? Like, I dare you. I dare you.
Well, how about
I dare any. I don't. You don't got to play. All you got to do is not be blind.
How about this? How about we change left tackle in 3 different games? Greg Robinson to Justin McCray. Back to Greg Robinson, who Greg did not look good. And then Wyatt Tiller. You know what? We're going to start Wyatt in this game.
We got to see Tiller. We got
to see Tiller. We got to put him in the game.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity.
I mean, we are – it has gone to the point where the Browns are just like, you know what? We've seen enough of this. We're going to change this to that. Like, we're going to keep exchanging and they keep changing and changing and changing. It's like a bad shell game where it's like, we're not going to sure what we're going to do, but we're going to put this here. We're not sure what we're going to put in, Robinson. Here we go. Like an offensive line, the offensive line's not playing well, but you're certainly not giving a chance for continuity at this point. I
am. Listen, to anyone out there who believes that some of the blame is on the offensive line or a majority of the blame, or even not even close to 50%. Let me tell you, not even close, because the bottom line is Baker is in the bottom third in regard to how many times he's been hit and sacked over the period of these 8 games. The bottom line is that he looks that the way he looks in the pocket is what's causing, in my opinion, people to blame the offensive line, because he doesn't look settled ever.
Yeah, exactly.
He does not look settled. He looks rattled.
Yeah, he does.
Constantly. That look of that's going to get people wondering, is it the offensive line? That, in a way, it's like an optical illusion, I think.
Well, right. And again,
it's not the offensive line.
And by the way, they're finding new ways to lose. The one consistent, though, on this team is the red zone, where we like to kick field goals, go for, as we mentioned, on bad 4th down plays with those quarterback sneak. And again, that has been throughout that's been the one consistent along with penalties, except for the Sunday's game where penalties really didn't play any part of the game. They cannot score in the red zone. It's like a disease. It's like a virus. They kick, and by the way, field goals are going in, so the field goal is not the problem this year. But Jared, there is sometimes like a bad play here and there. I was about to say the Cavs. The Browns have no confidence right now when it comes to the red zone. None. Every time they get inside the 20, I don't think they're going to score a touchdown now. It is that bad.
How many times did Baker throw that ball? 40 plus, right?
Yeah, 40 plus. It was
so. The reason I bring that up is because I know that we talk about Chubb kind of getting stopped in this game.
Mm-hmm. Running game did nothing.
We're talking about 20 carries and 60 yards. You give him 25 carries. You give him 27, 20, right?
Well, how about this?
One of those is bound to bust.
Well, how about this? How about you keep Carlos Hyde from last year, and you put Carlos Hyde in some of those runs?
You love being able to come back to that.
You know what, though? We're going to bring it up today. These draft picks for players. I want to see this great 4th-round draft pick walk through the door. And I'm not saying Carlos Hyde saves the season. I'm not stupid. No. And I'm not saying you need Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. No, you don't need both. You can't have 4 of these running backs. Well, why can't we have 3? Why can't you have either Johnson, Chubb, and now Kareem Hunt? Why can't you have Hyde, Chubb, and Kareem Hunt? Why did you have to get rid of both? Hilliard is not I got to be honest, Hilliard's a nice player on special teams. He is not a running back in this league.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I don't know why the hell we're putting him out in big spots. It's not, by the way, that's not on Hilliard. That's on Freddie. That's on maybe even Dorsey if Dorsey's putting pressure on Freddie, because that stuff's got to go away. We're all, look, again, it's not brain surgery. My son, why is Hilliard running the ball there, Dad? I don't know. I don't know. And
does your son play football? Does he even know?
No, he doesn't. And he goes,
well, then his opinion isn't valid according to Baker.
Well, that's fine. By the way, he wrote,
dude, I'm going to ride that one because at this point I'm so pissed.
I can tell.
I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed. All that shit that Tony Grossi had to take because everyone wanted to
Yeah.
defend. And here we are, 2-6. You know what? Blow it all out your asses. Because you know what? It's been nothing but a disappointment and a letdown once again. So don't get pissed off at the type of questions you're being asked. Don't. You're 2-6.
Well, let's actually go a step further. Is Baker Mayfield, and this has been a question I heard on KNR, and I'm sure it's been on other radio stations today, so I'll ask us. Is Baker Mayfield damaged after this year? Does he have 8 games in him to redeem like he did last year? Can Baker redeem the mojo he had going into 19? Can you do that again for 2020?
No, because this is not that team.
Yeah, I agree.
This is barely a team. This is a group of individuals who never came together.
Fraction
which
Island.
Leads me back to the coaching issue. And let's just talk real briefly about the other 2 teams in Cleveland who don't have nearly the amount of talent that this Browns team does in their respective sport. Yet because of coaching, they're watchable, they compete, and they're there at the end of the season.
Agreed.
At least the end. Because let's compare and contrast. Let's talk about the difference that a good coach makes with a team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the beginning of this Cleveland Indians season that we just finished. Let's talk about the fact that lineup was barely a major league lineup, that the outfield was a mess, that they had no one who would stand in a batter's box that weighed more than $150.
Yeah.
At least looking at them.
Let's
talk about the lack of depth in the bullpen. And then let's talk about how that coach worked those guys to get them to be able to stay within a handful of games out of the lead for the division by the midway point. How you had one of your pitchers show up at the All-Star game and show out, and how the rest of that season they ended up finishing, which in any other season would have been a postseason year. Let's talk about that, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's coaching. That's coaching, and that is finding an identity and creating a team.
You're right.
And that is not what has happened with the Browns this year. Period. Point blank. And it's why the Cavs, who have nothing at this point, but young guys and a couple of vets who are on board, with a coach who is implementing a scheme to get these guys to work their asses off.
You're right.
And it's got people in Cleveland excited.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Everything with these Browns was hype. I maybe a lot of my anger comes from the fact that I bought in once again, 20 years, Andy, 20 years of my life. I have been taking time of my day in my life, right? I get to live one life. If I'm lucky, I'll be 80 years old by the time I die. Yeah. And I would love to know how many Sundays that I have spent 3.5 hours wasting my time on this fucking team.
I know. That's terrible. I feel so bad. Poor Jared. I feel bad for me too. I feel bad for all of us. The thing is, that's really discouraging too, to what Jared's alluding to, which I was going to get to, which I'll get to now. This Browns team is very hard to cheer for right now. It's getting to the point again where it's not cheerable because it's bad. It's not cheerable because it's crappy. It's bad because there's too much talent in this team to be where it is. And there's really nothing to grab on hope for. And there's really nothing to root for. And to your overall point, right now, Freddie has not improved the team at all from Ravens game last year to this last game against the Broncos. It's hard to really pinpoint anybody in this team who has improved from this year to last year. And what's alarming is there are more players regressing, or there are players who have been dumped, whether it's Duke Johnson, Gerard Avery, Higgins is next. All these guys have been shipped out because they can't develop these players. And by the way, I think a little bit of that should go on Dorsey too. This has not been the year
100%.
of. By the way, if you're going to
100%.
If you're going to go 2-6, where's the progression of these players? I mean, let me think for a second. Is there anybody really in this team? I mean,
Nick Chubb.
But Chubb played that well last year, I thought. So maybe Chubb, sure. Outside Nick Chubb, is anybody really taking a step forward this year?
Schobert's hung on.
Yeah, he's playing like he did last year before he got injured. After he got injured, Schobert
Ward's
stunk.
trying to get back to normal.
He's trying to, but again, didn't play as well as he did the first.
But again, what are we doing right now? Listing a bunch of individuals.
But that's my point. But grasping it, but Jared, right? So outside Nick Chubb, who's probably improved, there's no one else in the Browns has improved. They have improved their kicking game, and they've improved, I would say, their special teams. But I think the kicking game is actually really improved. And I mean, I don't know how much you want to put down on Kitchens. It's probably on Dorsey. So that's like credit to Dorsey. Dorsey's fixed that. Special teams play better. But I mean, outside that, I mean, I don't have much.
I've done a little bit of griping regarding Baker to this point too, and bringing up the. I think it bothers me so much because you get real tough with a reporter and you make comments like that when he's asking a question regarding stupidity in the way I'm looking at it. And here we are following this game, and you see another media personality in Cleveland getting attacked racially by another player on this team and his life threatened. And then them losing their social media access via Twitter and continuing that behavior on their official Instagram account. And that person is no longer with the team. We're talking about safety Jermaine Whitehead. And what I'm seeing now that I think that I've never seen before, at least, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, Andy, but here we are. We now have a very defined rift growing between the media and fans and the team. There's three more factions that are divided.
I think the fans and media will always be. I don't know why. It's not like that.
A contentious relationship.
Yeah, there's always gonna be a little feisty.
But you know what? You know why? You know what it's like being a fan and getting pissed at the media and sticking up for the Browns. You know what that's like? That's like, I hate to use this example, but I think I can use it because I've been in a relationship like that. Full disclosure, and it wasn't me. Well, you got to clarify if you're the guy. The defending your abuser, and as ridiculous as that may sound, that's what that behavior is. That's what that behavior is. At the end of the day, you're defending your abuser. You're defending this team that shits on you every week, every Sunday. You're defending them against the people that are trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. So I mean that's the situation we're in, Andy. That's what we're doing right now.
I root very, very. It's very easy to root for Nick Chubb.
I may have
very easy to root for
much, by the way.
Yeah. TMI.
Nah, we're good.
We're all friends.
What do I
this
care?
Isn't going anywhere. Exactly. I root hard for Myles Garrett, Schobert, Mac Wilson, Ogunjobi. I root really, really hard for. Okay.
I love Mac Wilson. I love how he's been after the games.
I do too. I like Odell Beckham Jr. a lot. I've been really, really impressed with how hard he plays. I think he pushes people around. Now let's get to Baker. I want to root hard for Baker. I know where Jared's going with this, and he's right. Baker really needs a coach to help coach him next year. And for anything else, anybody out there who's skittish about firing a coach after 1 year, that is your one reason alone you need to fire Freddie. I am not going to protect Mr. Kitchens anymore. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he can finish his 8 games strong. But Jared, I think it's time to start looking for a new coach who can help out 6 a lot. Because Baker, I love his intensity. I love how Baker's very raw and honest. Baker has the moxie to win these big games. But Baker needs to learn some more football. He's not done. Just because he won the Heisman, just because he won, I think it was a total of last year? 7 games to the Browns. Baker needs to learn some more, and Kitchens is not going to be the guy. And I don't think that's going to change these next 8 games. The Browns really need to focus on someone who can help this young man get to the places he can go to, because Jared's right. the way Baker's coming off right now, and I think part of it is on Baker, yes, but I think part of it too is on Freddie. Because of the lack of
he's stuck
coaching.
in a shitty situation where he's got to
That's right.
defend Freddie and Freddie's ridiculousness. And in the
Yeah.
same way that I just explained the relationship that the fans have regarding the media,
Yep.
it's the same thing that Baker was displaying in trying to defend Freddie's what I don't even know what to call it. 4th down false start so that you can save a timeout.
Well, this week,
to then go for it in your own territory, in your own territory.
Well, how about
4th and
this?
16.
How about this week on our last 4th down play? We have no more timeouts. That was our last timeout spent. So when we get the ball back to Denver, we're basically saying, God, we need a miracle. And of course, the Browns don't have miracles right now. They couldn't stop anything to save their lives. The one thing before
couldn't throw it to Odell Beckham Jr., who's running down the left side of the field with the 2.5 yards of separation.
Going back to Mayfield on the field, though, I'm on that point. By the way, Odell Beckham Jr. is a star, and you need to get him the ball as much as possible. I'm going to start hammering home the Chubb point, and I'm going to start hammering home Odell Beckham Jr. You need to get him the ball as much as you can.
Well, and let's say this: Did Brandon Allen look intimidated throwing the ball? I watched him throw into double coverage, and
I just think right now the Browns. I've seen this. Here's the thing: I've seen this. Insert coach. I saw it with Chud. I definitely saw it with Shermer. I certainly saw it a couple times with Mangini in his last few games before he got exited out. We are now seeing it with Freddie in the Bronco game, where you're seeing stuff where it's like Brandon Allen's never played a football game in his life as a starter. And he's never even played I got to look back. I don't even know if he played a snap in the NFL. And yet he's making plays. He's playing crisp. He's doing the right things. And the Browns don't know how to defend. And by the way, the defense. Okay, I'm going to go on defense now. How in the hell against
big
the
plays
first,
that were let out?
I mean, you know the fucking Broncos are going to run. How do you not stop them in big situations with a run? And then on that one, and again, Groundhog Day, short pass, missed tackle, Jerry Whitehead, missed tackle, Greedy Williams.
You come get this blood.
By the way, Grady's been hurt. When Grady's played, Greedy Williams had a rough rookie year. I'm ready for Mr. Mitchell to come back on the field. Hey, Greedy, take some plays off. If you're not going to tackle and you're going to do that crap down the sidelines, we'll see in a couple games. Denzel's played much better, but Greedy Williams, what was that on Sunday? And I'll tell you, and again, this is a defense, and Wilkes, this is on Wilkes too. And God, I thought Wilkes was going to be the answer. Boy, I was wrong. You have put and this is where the Browns are this is where the Browns get so exposed because they had to cut Whitehead, but they put so much emphasis on Whitehead's position and in what Whitehead does in the field. And now that you cut him, you don't have anybody to fucking replace him with. Avery's playing for the fucking Eagles, so you can't put an extra linebacker in there. You're
Silver lining,
You're
you made the space to bring Kareem Hunt back on, right? Didn't they have to make a move? So, there you go.
Can he play?
Hey, by the way, the next eight, Kareem Hunt. Look out, Browns fans. Here we go. 8 straight.
Okay, so the defense.
Like, do you even care anymore that he's back? Like, do you even care?
I do, for one reason. He is the last
next year.
Well, he's not even signed, but
yeah.
Okay. But he's restricted, so the Browns can bring him back. The one thing I want to see, though, from him, is there anything that he can do, which I don't think, by the way, I think the answer is no. But can he do anything to spark this team? Can he do anything at all to, again, nothing against Hilliard. He can play special teams anytime he wants to. He is not a running back in this league. I'm sorry. Ratley, another guy. Now you can put Hilliard in that class. Are we good with Hilliard? I'm good. Does anybody remember that great catch?
I don't care if I don't see him again.
Do you remember that big play against the Seahawks game? Oh, that's right. It tipped off his hands. It was intercepted. Remember that play? Oh, remember that big run he had on 3rd down and 4? Oh, yeah, he didn't get the first down. And Nick Chubb, we had him on the sideline. Too good. Andy. You're too good, Nick. You take a rest, pal.
Shout out Shout out, by the way, to those watching on Facebook Live right now. We've got a question. This is the desperation of Browns fans coming through right here in this question regarding Tony Romo in the booth and how good he sounds calling out what plays should be run and what's going on in the field. Is it too big of a stretch to reach out and make him an offer? You know what's hilarious? I don't think that's insane at this point. I'm just saying.
See, we're in this period again where it's like
why couldn't that NFL quarterback take over for a former college quarterback? Why not?
We're in the desert of no hope. I can't believe I'm saying that about this fucking team, but we're in the desert of now no hope. So the defense stunk. It's hard finding a play that you really loved on defense. And then I want to go back to the offense again too. And everybody's talking about it, but the offensive line, this is again, the Browns are becoming this team. 1 week it's this, 1 week is that. This week they could not get the rush going because the offensive line, anytime there's a rush, it felt like there's 2 or 3 defenders for the Broncos already in the backfield.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a short screen, anytime there's running play, the offensive line got no push. Yeah. On passing plays, it wasn't terrible. But on running plays and short screens, the Broncos were on the Browns like that. By the way, are we not throwing the ball down the field anymore? Are we going back to Brian Daboll's offense?
The only play for the only attempt was the attempt for Baker.
Short dink. Hey, Odell Beckham, no, too fast. You catch the ball 5 yards behind the line. And by the way, we're gonna put no blockers ready to go. Just try to get yourself out of that. That's where we're at.
Congratulations. That's where we're at. That's the prize in 2019, brother. Man, Andy, 2.5 months ago, man. 2.5 months ago. 2.5 months ago. Man.
1-7-1.
We were
1-7-1. We're 171 days away from the NFL draft. It's our Super Bowl. We're almost there. 1-7-1. We're gonna do an advent calendar soon.
We took a season off. We took a season. We had a bye.
We're back, baby.
We had a bye season with the draft. Here we are. Andy. I said the Browns
are gonna do this, and we're gonna be doing it
you
again.
You gotta do it. I said we were gonna be 12-4, brother. I said 12-4. I said 12-4.
Okay, let's do it.
I said Lamar Jackson was a terrible quarterback.
Ready? Here we go.
Because I know terrible quarterbacks, and here we are.
Ready?
All
right. Okay, let's do it.
Once again, my ass was showing.
Hold on. I'm gonna get up real quick. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. Do they win the Bills game this weekend?
Oh hell no. No, not a chance. Not a chance.
I don't think so.
Schedule game, by the way, folks. Yep. Schedule game.
Yeah, schedule game. I know the next game is Steelers on Thursday night.
So let's go ahead and talk about that. We were going to go and do a show from there.
I'm going. I'm
not going now. I'm not giving them my money. I barely want to give them my time. I'm not giving them my money. I'm done. We were going to do a show from the Muni lot. We were going to go to the game, and then we were going to. We were going to do it up. We were going to do it up.
I'll be there though.
We had former players that we were going to work with. We were going to try to make some things happen. We were going to have a lot of fun, and I've got nothing.
My schedule's wide open on Thursday that week. I will be there. I'm going.
Have fun.
I'm the village idiot.
I'm going to hang out with the family. I'm done.
So
not doing it.
So they don't beat the Bills right now. By the way, Vegas likes the Bills. Likes the Browns. 2.5 point favorites on Sunday. Browns are the 2.5 point favorite.
PJ says it's a tie against the Bills.
That could be. Steelers, Browns.
Other people.
I think the.
What am I doing with these banners? Sorry, folks. Anybody who's watching on Facebook sees me messing up.
I say, okay, I'm actually going to change my opinion about one thing. I actually think the Browns will beat the Steelers on Thursday night.
Nope.
They better for an 8-hour fucking car drive.
Here's what I'll say. They don't, Andy, if they don't win, this is really what it comes down to at this point. If you don't win out, there's no point in anything. So if you don't win if you don't beat the Bills, then the next game doesn't matter.
Don't avoid not playing the depressing schedule game. Do you like the Steelers on Thursday night? Or do you like the Browns?
So my thing is, if you don't beat the Bills, then you don't beat. Then I don't think you beat
playoffs
anybody.
are done. Playoffs are done. We're done.
But I mean, you get my point, right?
I know.
My point is with that sliver of whatever hope that is in the back of whatever that sliver. Hey, if that's the case, then Freddie shouldn't have said, well, the last 8 games didn't matter, right? Because he did say that, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the quotes that I saw.
I'll give you some good quotes.
And Baker also said, don't count us, whatever the hell he said regarding the next 8 games. Listen, all I'm saying is there are people that are still hanging on to that sliver. And I'm just hypothetically saying that if we're going to hang on to that sliver, the only way to hang on to that is to win one game and then win the next and then win the next. But if you lose any of those games, which is going to start against the Bills, then the rest of those games are in play to be big fat L's. And I don't know how you win them. The only thing that I think that could happen, the only wins that I could foreseeably see if
the Kitty
they
Cats
lose against the Bills is one against Cincinnati.
Kitty Cats are bad.
One against Cincinnati, and maybe they beat Miami. Like that's it. There's 2 wins left on this schedule.
They don't beat the Steelers,
in my opinion. No, Andy. Why would they? Why? You give me a reason. You tell me why they should win either of those games.
Jared Mason Rudolph. They're not
Brandon Allen.
Okay. So you say no. Dolphins. They beat the Dolphins. I say yes. 2 in a row. Browns get hot. And then the winning streak stops at Ketchup Field. They lose to the Steelers, right? In Pittsburgh? No way. Put a little mustard on a hot dog? I don't think so. They put mustard on a hot dog. Let's see. What's the next game here? Browns Bengals. I love the Browns in this game. Kitty Cats are awful. They're a fucking terrible team. They're not winning a game. Arizona. No way the Browns win that.
No.
Ravens at home.
No, because what again? Arizona has what? Arizona has what? Coaching.
By the way, to everyone who listened to this podcast last year on my shitty
working their asses off.
Yeah. I said last year I would love to have the Browns have Jim Harbaugh. Or John. And I said he's a good coach. And a lot of the media are like, oh, Harbaugh shouldn't. He's not the right fit for the Browns. Who would want Harbaugh coaching the Browns right now?
Wait, which Harbaugh?
Either one. I'll take the guy for the Ravens.
Listen, I still have enough pride.
Harbaugh.
I still have enough pride in me that I'm never going to be okay with a Harbaugh in Cleveland. Sorry. Nope.
Take either one. I don't care.
No.
By the way,
neither.
Take either
neither.
One.
Neither. Anyone else? Any other? Look, no.
By the way,
no, never a Harbaugh.
By the way, I think the Bengals go 0-15 into their last home game against the Browns. I think did the Browns beat the Kitty Cats twice?
No.
Bengals are really bad.
Andy. The Browns are really bad.
The Browns are really bad.
Really bad.
All right, they lose that one.
This is a team that barely hung on to get through a win against the Jets.
Who did?
And the Ravens?
Who the Jets?
The Ravens?
The Ravens were the game. That's the one game. That's the aberration game. That's when Freddie coached.
You know what that is? You know what that is in research and statistics? You know what that game is in research methods and statistics? They call that an outlier.
Yeah, outlier is a good one.
That's shit that is it's a wait a minute. You don't even include that in the study because it's so far out there from the rest of the pattern that it can't possibly count. It's an outlier. Doesn't even matter.
So we're declaring on Andy and Jared that the Browns are not going to the playoffs. Well, it was a good run. It was a good year this year. We'll be looking forward to mock drafts and all sorts of
Andy, here's the question. You want to do mock draft? You want to do mock draft? Let's do this. Top 10, right? We're gonna go ahead and say top 10. We're gonna say top 10. We could say maybe top 5.
Top 5 is gonna be hard. Jets,
bro.
Falcons,
are you underestimating
Redskins? Do you think the Redskins are gonna come on? These teams are. See, here's the thing.
All right, let me ask this. But the point, what I'm getting to is, what position are you going best on board, or do you have a position that you're looking to fill?
Anything offensive line, tight end, star on.
I think you have to go tight end.
Oh my god!
I think that. Listen, I will say this though. I'm. Do you go quarterback by the 3rd?
If Joe Burrow's lingering around for some reason, which would be a mistake, you might want to snap up Joe. Because Joe, at least you can trade him.
Well, that's the argument to draft a quarterback every year.
Yeah, that's why you should always draft a quarterback. I say that all the time. You should always draft.
But what I'm saying is, by the 3rd, no later than. Do you wait longer? I think you grab someone by the 3rd.
Oh, 3rd round.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm processing what
you thought. I meant 3rd pick.
Wow, you think we're really that? Wait, Jared's really fucking depressed. No,
I'm just saying. I'm trying to give enough respect for the fact that I think Baker deserves more.
Look, right now, this team needs structure. This team needs organization. And I do want to talk about Mr. Dorsey now, because we all know. I mean, look, okay. Do you think there's any fraction of Browns fans left who think Freddie will be around next year?
I would say at this point, we're looking at about a 15 to 20% chance.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I'm at right now.
I think less than that. I think it's 5. I think it's pretty bad. So the only thing that I do want to bring about Dorsey, and I love Dorsey, but the Greedy Williams selection, Taki, Ratley from last year, Avery's gone. I would love to see him. Jermaine Whitehead, gone. He gone. So all these guys who've been, Chubb, great draft pick. Well, Austin Corbett, gone. There's been
he was nothing but a letdown, and he never fit in with that line. I mean, all you had to watch was some of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
But Jerry, my point is, Dorsey's been credited. It's now time to take some dings here. Those draft picks not worked out, and I complained about the Duke Johnson trade. I complained about the Carlos Hyde trade. And I'm complaining about the Avery trade for these stupid mid-round draft picks. I don't understand. If these players can play and you're on a team that's trying to win now, why are you trading Avery? Now you could really use an Avery. You could really use some of the – I just don't – Jared, the first 8 games, Duke Johnson would not have saved the season, but he would have helped the season. And they didn't have – and again, I'm not – as Jared knows, I'm not the biggest Duke Johnson supporter or lover. But you could have used him on that,
and all of that goes back to a certain press conference with John Dorsey.
Yes,
trying to explain his way out of why they signed Kareem Hunt. And making the comment that he made, the single comment that he made regarding Duke, that instantly shut that kid off. He was done. He was done.
Yep.
He was done after that moment.
Dorsey. We talked about that day, and Dorsey. And by the way, in fairness to Dorsey, everyone makes mistakes, and he apologized, and he should have moved on. And that being Duke, and Duke never did. But Dorsey had a bad day at that press conference. He should have never said that word. It put really Duke in a weird position. I would have felt the same way Duke did, but Duke's got to be a better pro. He didn't. And by the way, those two guys are playing.
No, like I said, I think I told you there was a little bit of Kyrie kind of.
Well, right, but all that to be said, you're watching the London game and you're watching Carlos Hyde run all over the Jaguars, and you're watching Duke Johnson do things in that game too. Like, I'm not saying you need both, but why the fuck are we training these guys?
But why does it matter, Andy? Because the only reason they're doing that is because
we're still hung up on this town about draft picks in the middle rounds. And John Dorsey's drinking the same shit. Why are we keeping these guys? Whatever. So, okay, we're not
going to know better.
I know. So this.
Freddie knows better.
I'm just so
They
fucking
know better.
tired of when they make trades like this. People are like, "Well, it's more draft capital." Draft capital. When you have players who can play, I think the NFL draft has overdrafted these middle round picks. It's just a bunch of foobar at times. It's just a bunch of foobar. I'm just not seeing it. Kareem Hunt, big week, hopefully. I know you and I probably aren't going to have a chance to do another podcast till after Sunday's game. So, barring injuries or the second coming of I don't know, Jim Brown or someone, or Otto Graham coming back from the ground, or maybe I mean, I don't know, a snowstorm like that time where I can't fucking remember his name right now. The kicker from Texas who I love, Dawson, made all his kicks in the snow. Phillip. I mean, is there any chance they win this game on Sunday? I don't think so either.
No.
Bruh,
it's the mafia.
Yeah.
It's the mafia. Bills Mafia. No, not a chance. Not a chance.
What has happened to our season?
Not a chance.
Here's how you win that. By the way, here's how you win that game. Here's how you win that game. You take the ball, you hand 24. You tell Odell Beckham Jr., don't do any more fucking short screens. Go down the field. And by the way, the one time...
And you tell Baker, stop looking.
Yes.
Throw to Odell.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I want to go backwards real quick. Landry and Mayfield right now are so off. 13 targets, only 6 completions in that game. Landry and Mayfield right now are really off. And that is something that it has stood out to me as the season's gone on. And the one thing I do want to, I mentioned this a little bit in the last podcast. I want to bring up quickly. It's not really Odell, actually. Because I think Odell does a nice job in post-game press conferences explaining how he feels in the sideline.
He is, I will say this, that through all the shit, Odell has been straight ahead.
He's a keeper.
I will also say, as annoyed as I am with the issues regarding the shoes, the watch, the visor, I don't think you're ever going to totally eliminate that part of Odell.
Yeah, exactly.
And nor would I try to.
No, that's who he is. It's who he is.
But again, I can deal with all of that, especially because of how he has integrated himself in the community and how he has defended his teammates in a very calm and deliberate way.
Yep.
And how he has bought in regarding all of the shit that they've been through to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with everything that came out of everyone in New York was a bunch of butthurt bullshit. To this point, especially through the adversity that Odell has had to face, dealing with being on this 2-6 Browns team. So Odell is a keeper, flat out. You're right.
I love Odell.
But I will say this, that also makes me worry. I don't want to lose him.
No, they won't.
And I mean that mentally. I mean that I don't want him to check out.
As long, and this is where I'm going to be interested to see how this goes on throughout the season. I definitely think, and they're not butting heads at all, but there's definitely a Landry Beckham section of this team
that's separate from Baker.
Yes,
that's the key.
But by the way, I don't think there's any disagreements there, and I don't think anybody's butting heads. I don't think that at all. Actually,
they stay within their space.
I actually think they get along, but
it's the assertiveness.
It is,
and the command that they're pulling.
And I'll say this though, I think if you were actually take a truth pill, the leader of this team is Jarvis Landry, not Baker Mayfield.
Well, let me ask you this: is Nick Chubb more of a silent leader?
Yeah,
than Baker is.
Well,
right now.
Going to where you're going with that, Nick Chubb is not that kind of guy. He's not his personality, right? But Jarvis, my vibe is Jarvis is probably a little bit ahead of Mayfield right now. And I'm not saying that's
and Jarvis
bad.
is vocal. He's vocal.
He's vocal, and he's
And we
got
know that.
Beckham's back, and Beckham's got his back for sure. And that's why I think that will always be okay. Now, if you want to get crazy, Jared, if Jarvis Landry were ever get traded or he would go bye-bye, now I think you got some problems. Or you
don't you can't split. Yeah. They're like a
they are.
they're
tandem.
They go together. They go together.
But again,
you are absolutely correct.
I think everything's hunky-dory right now. I think everything's fine. But I think it's something to watch too. And there you go. So we're at 2-6. You could be the Jets. You could be the Bengals. Even the Steelers got a 2-game lead on us. Motherfuckers. Is there anything else you want to talk before we talk Cap?
Yeah, let's talk about how our noses were rubbed in shit watching. There was the cherry on top of everything. Cherry on top of everything. The Ravens giving the Patriots the first loss of the year.
See, here's the funny thing. Once the Browns lose games like that, I am this fan. I start checking out of things like that. And everyone's like, how about the Ravens game? I'm like,
See, you checked out of that. I check out of whatever the Browns have to say.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
I can't check out of watching everything that I thought was going to happen with that team be completely wrong.
But let me be fair too. The reason why I was checking.
So maybe that's ego. Maybe that's what that is. But it's just painful, Andy. It's painful to watch. The Ravens are doing exactly what the Twins did to the Indians this year, in my eyes, when it comes to
I don't think so. The Ravens are actually really, really getting good coaching. Harbaugh is elevating.
If you want to break it down that way, I was talking in more of a generality where the expectations were that the Indians were going to run away with the Central and that the Twins didn't have the pitching to carry. And that just didn't pan out. I'm just talking about the predictions from the beginning of the season to what we're actually living in reality now. That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I gotcha. How about this? I understand what you're saying. But I understand I'll listen to that. I understand what you're saying. All that to be said, the Ravens are flying. But the reason why I was not watching Ravens Pats is I was watching Cavs and Mavs.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
And sadly, the Cavs could not follow through with any kind of.
I am going to get League Pass, by the way. Don't tell my wife, but I get a student discount, and I really think it's worth it.
Worth every nickel. So let's go to Sunday's game, because I would have watched Pats and Ravens, but I was watching Cavs instead. So Cavs and Mavs Sunday's an easy breakdown. Basically, this guy, Luka Doncic, is really good. And he did a lot of things on the floor. He is an excellent player to watch. And the good news is you only play him twice a year, once in Dallas, once
in Cleveland. Did the flippity bebop, skadooby bop?
Oh, he's good. That kid. He's good.
Did you see the interview with LeBron a couple days earlier regarding Luka? All right, you're gonna have to go back and look at that. I'm surprised you didn't see it.
No, but here I wanted to give you the 10-second on him because we're all about the Cavs. Luka Doncic, if he keeps doing things like this, and the Cavs keep adding pieces like they're doing around him, the Mavs are going places. That is a team in 2 or 3 years that's going to be really smoking hot. Good. All that to be said, the Cavs really had a hard time rebounding again. That is the one thing that's starting to stick out on the Friday game and the Sunday game I'm going to bring up now. The Cavs have done a nice job in their backcourt. Sexton, until Luka just ran laps around. It happened. He's just really good. Sexton does play much better. 16-8 a game. Play much better. Looks better. Tristan and Love right now are really, really playing well. Really playing well on this team. But the one thing that this team is short on is front court. Even with Tristan, even with Love, the Ante-Zizic experiment is going to go away here soon.
No, yeah, they're a small team. They really are.
They
really are.
They need help rebounding badly. Their passing's there. This team plays the right way. Chetty Osman even has a better feel than he did last year. I think it's going to take Chetty a little bit more time to get in it. But I actually, for the first time, can see how Chetty could really like. I always know he had talent, and he's not a bad player. He's good, but I can see how now he's going to fit in his offense. I can see it. It's going to take a little time. I think Chetty's going to actually be very good towards the end of the year.
And you're coming off of a season where you felt like a lot of the Chetty chatter and cheer.
Right.
Let me get that alliteration in there. It was too much. It was just too much. It was too high of expectations of what you thought you were going to get out of them and all that. Well, have we gotten to the point where Sexton is really taking that step of improvement? Because there's arguments that he hasn't yet.
See, I think people are too hard on. I'm on the rear opposite of this one. I think people are too hard on Sexton. Sexton is already up to 16-8 a game, and he's played against tough point guards. And again, Luka Doncic, hey, he had a bad night against him. There's no question about it. But Sexton against the Pacers, that was the game 2-0 loss where I thought he played really well on Friday night. He had some good moments. He looked strong going against to the hole, and especially against the Bulls in that Wednesday night game. Sexton, I mean, as we all saw that dunk, Sexton really is playing better without the ball and with the ball and seeing the court. Jared, he is so raw, but that rawness is starting to get honed in. And I will also say, even though I wasn't thrilled to pick, Porter has a lot of that same rawness. And I think if he can stay, I will say this already, Beeline's already zeroing in on him, and I think that's smart, because that kid does have a lot of raw talent, and if they can get him to form up, that all that could be good. But all that to be said, I want to reiterate, the Tristan and Love show is great. They play so well together.
You can just tell that Kevin's in a good place.
Yeah, he is in a good place.
He is content.
All-star.
He is relaxed. He is not feeling the pressure of being on a team with LeBron.
Yep.
And he is all those doubts that you had, all that, man, you want to talk about a guy who got beat up about regarding expectations and injuries and what you wanted out of him. And he's not even doing it's just, the guy is in a good place right now. And I love that. I love it.
He's playing well. Love has always gotten as I've said in this podcast, he's gotten too much of a hit. He is really an above all-star, meaning he's on that cusp. He's not elite, but he's better than your average all-star. Kevin Love's a really good player. Tristan Thompson's playing like an all-star right now too. With Sexton, those three, I think you got the parts. The thing that stinks, though, I do want to get to one thing that's not a negative, but it's going to be the question. Clarkson's playing well. Not great, but playing well. Tristan's playing really well. As the season goes on and knowing those contracts expire, do they try to flip it? It's going to be tough. And I don't know what the right answer is to that right now, but I think that's something to keep your eye on as the season goes on.
Well, here's the thing with Tristan. Tristan has that ability to have early pop and then disappear.
We saw that last year. Yep.
So maybe you do flip him, because where are we at really long term with Tristan at this point?
Yeah, I mean, in the same argument we made for Clarkson, the only thing is, I'll say, that is where the actual reality of, because again, this team is really fun to watch. They play hard. Even in the Mavericks game, I know they lost by 20. It didn't feel like a 20-point loss. They were in that game until the last 5 minutes. The game just got away. They just made too many shots. But the thing is, if they can keep playing that way, that's great. But let's be realistic. If you lose Jordan Clarkson, if you lose Tristan Thompson, Cavs don't have depth. The depth is just not there right now. And that's the one thing that I am being very realistic about, that I don't want to pour water or be negative, but if trades or injuries happen to those key members we just mentioned, Darius Garland too, the Cavs are taking a step back.
I mean, are you really looking at, we're talking about how limited is this rotation? I mean, are we looking at 6, 7, 7? I mean,
there's right now 8 guys who can play. Maybe 9.
Right. But after.
And by the way, Henson's out. I mean, that Henson injury is bigger than what people think. That Henson injury was really costly because you need front court depth, and he was a big part of that. The one thing the Cavs, no matter what they do, and I was the opposite coming in this draft, I will say I will be flipping coming in this next draft. Unless there's some stud player you have to draft who's a guard or a small forward, you need power forward and center. You need depth in your front court badly. In rebounding.
Well, yeah, muscle matters.
You got to get someone who's either that or a Dennis Rodman type.
It's not even necessarily the length. It really is the mass.
Just getting like a Barkley, someone who can rebound and get after it. Because the only thing from the Cavs' perspective that, again, if injuries start happening, if trades start happening, I'm not saying it's for the wrong reasons, that will play a part in how this team plays down the stretch.
That's the argument to not try to flip.
That's my point. I think sometimes we like
I guess I just don't get a good enough feel about where and I'm going to revert back to this, like, where is he mentally and
I know.
with everything regarding the life that is. I mean, we're talking Kardashians here, brother. At the end of the day, we're talking his kid, we're talking his future, we're talking a guy who's still who's hitting that point in his life where he's played enough years that, you know, where's he want to go? What's he want to do? How's he want to settle down? You know, that's what we're starting to think about here. Is Cleveland really that spot? I don't know.
I love Beeline. Beeline's doing a great job to how bad Freddie's doing. That's how great Beeline's doing. I agree with what Jared just said. Watch the Cavs. I watch them every night. I love watching them play. And it's like I said, being realistic, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're very fun. They play the game the right way. Very rootable, very easy to cheer for. Hopefully that continues throughout the year, but a good start for the Cavs. Moving forward to the Tribe.
Cleveland Indians.
Golden Glove season is here, and this is a great stat, so I want to give this credit to Sierra Langs. For the first time since 2001, when it was Omar Vizquel and Roberto Alomar, the Indians come down with 2 Gold Gloves. Lindor at short, and then Roberto Perez with his first Gold Glove at catcher. Amazing.
I can't even tell you how fired up I am.
I'm happy for
Perez, especially because we talk so much shit about Roberto.
Yep.
And not necessarily about Roberto, but about the Indians and their decision to cut ties with Yan Gomes and let him go and get himself a World Series ring. Damn it.
I was happy for him. I was happy.
I am. I was
terrible.
upset that Michael Brantley made the last out of the game.
I felt terrible for Brantley. I love Brantley.
Hey, but you know what? He had a great year too. So I'm not going to feel that bad.
Made World Series in Game 7. Yes.
But here's the deal with Roberto Perez. Talk about a young man who and Mandy told us at the beginning of this year that Roberto Perez spent, and this was offensively. We were worried about his offense. We were worried about whether his bat was going to be able to keep pace with what Yan Gomes was. We expected out of Yan Gomes this season if he was still here.
Right.
And what Roberto turned out for this team at the plate was beyond our expectations, and it came down to what Mandy told us. He spent that before season time in the DR playing.
Yep.
And working on that swing. And then to turn around and see him get a Gold Glove, especially after Mandy's tweet from I saw it as well. I think it was earlier today or late yesterday. I don't remember, but it was yesterday, wasn't it? Regarding what Roberto actually had been going through.
Oh, yeah, the Roberto comment. Yeah, Roberto said it felt like a knife was poking at his ankle since April to bone spurs. He then proceeded to catch 118 games. Something else, too. Happy for Perez. Happy for Frankie. The other thing, too, just to go into catchers and to bring it back to Frankie, Pilecki also did a nice job as a backup catcher, and he fits that role perfectly. The Indians actually have a nice starting catcher and a backup catcher. And did he play for Purdue? He did play for Purdue. Of course he did. By the way, they beat Nebraska. I know no one watched college football this weekend, but I certainly did. And they beat Nebraska. No,
I didn't have anything to watch.
By the way, okay, real quickly, how in the hell? I mean, it's not anybody's fault. No LSU, no Alabama, no Ohio State, no Penn State, and Clemson's playing Wofford. I mean, Jesus Christ. You're down to like Florida and Georgia. Anyways, I'm happy for Berto. I'm really happy for Frankie. Now to not twist the story quickly, but to twist the story quickly. There's already been a big story about the Dodgers going after Frankie. There are some rumors today about the Yankees going after Frankie. Which you want to talk about something that would really make some Indians fans mad, including me. You ever were to do that. There's going to be a lot of rumors in the next few weeks. Those are the first two that have really come out. The Dodgers seems to have a lot more legitimacy. I think the Yankees is more coffee shop talk. But because Didi did get released today by the Yankees, so he will not be returning shortstop, so they have a hole there now. It's going to be interesting, and for how much I'm excited about the Indians in 2020, Frankie has to be a part of that 2020 team. And it'll be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a lot more rumors to come. I don't think they're going to stop, but it's like I said, there's already an article out about the Dodgers being very interested in him. And like I said, there's already some scuttlebutt about the Yankees as well.
Andy, different from last season. If the Indians have a plan for shortstop when they inevitably lose Frankie, and if it were to happen in this manner for next season, if they have a plan, would that make you feel a little bit better? You're sure you're not talking? I mean, because I don't. Obviously, there was no plan with losing Michael Brantley, right? There was no plan after that of what we were actually going to do.
They scrambled and they did enough to make players happen. Look,
what I'm saying is, if they plan, can they make something work? Can they shuffle that infield enough? Because the Indians
need to do whatever it takes to keep Francisco Lindor in Cleveland.
Well, then here's the deal. Frankie Lindor needs to do whatever it takes.
The Indians.
Frankie didn't have the best season. I know that sounds obnoxious when we're talking about a guy who just picked up a Gold Glove.
Here's the thing.
But he disappeared.
I'm not disagreeing with all of that. I'm disagreeing with some of it, not all of it. Frankie Lindor is that elite of a player in my mind. You have to do what it takes to keep him. He is the leader. He is the face of this organization. And talking to many, many people and listening and going around the game, you can replace, and the Indians have done a nice job. And Jared, they have done a great job not just replenishing and trading, but getting new parts and keeping that farm system. It is now time to keep a pillar.
What if he's ready to go?
He's not.
What if he's mentally ready to go? That's my point.
Well, you got to sell him on Cleveland. And by the way, I think it's about paying him the bills. Time. Hey, if the Royals are worth $1 billion, it's time to open up the wallet and pay the man.
Well, yeah, I mean they didn't make the playoffs this year, so they should be financially in better shape according to their owner.
All I'm asking for,
right? They do. We do better. I don't know if you know this, but fiscally, we do better when we don't make the playoffs.
We love
and it's been a real struggle, but we do better.
We love rebuilding.
Hey, well, Frankie's here. Listen, I can't tell you what's going to happen, but enjoy him while he's here.
Excuse me, PR team. Have we talked long enough about how
Dolan, shut up. Shut up.
Keep Frankie Lindor. The Indians aren't poor. Keep Frankie Lindor. Pour some extra beers at the corner bar and keep Frankie Lindor. I'm not asking you to keep anybody else on this team. Maybe Bieber. Maybe Clevenger down the road. But I want Frankie Lindor as an Indian. I think it means that much. College football, is Chase Young going to win the Heisman?
It's looking that way, brother.
He's looking good.
It's looking that way.
I would say it's ATN, Burrow, Tua, if he can come back healthy, and Chase Young. And by the way, I don't know why, but I questioned this at the beginning of the year. And my God, am I not a Buckeye fan, but I'm ready to state it. Dobbins has elevated his game to a different.
And we talked about this at the beginning of the year. Was he going to be able to? Who is going to be the workhorse? And let me tell you this. As much as we can count garbage time minutes for Master Teague is ready to pick up right where Dobbins leaves off. Period. That's that. I mean, this team is ridiculous. And Justin Fields, who'd have thought that Justin Fields wouldn't be the best player on this team overall? And here we are, where Justin Fields might be third or fourth best player on this team. This Buckeyes team is special. And Ryan Day is shutting up all mouths in regard to whether he should have taken over this team.
My ways, you're right. So with that in mind, let's talk about the Irish. So,
I want to talk more about the Buckeyes.
I'm good. We're elevated full of annoyed.
Okay.
If Urban Meyer,
let's go. Let's talk about the Irish. Yeah, let's talk about that depressing. Let's go ahead. Come on. Let's talk about it. Let's not talk about the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes that are basically on their.
Hey, look, they didn't play last week. They played the Fighting Buys, and the Buckeyes were really good. The Irish had a great win against Virginia Tech at home. Ian Book ran for an exciting touchdown to bring him ever closer to a big.
I don't know why you keep calling him Ian.
Whatever. Look, I Mr. Buckeye and all the Buckeye fans, I get it, and you guys are really good. Buckeyes are legitimately good. Buckeyes are the one team outside LSU, Alabama, and Clemson that can win.
Well, I know better than to get mouthy, but this is.
They're really good, folks.
This is a year that you really need to be watching.
They're really good. So all that to be said, I hope Urban Meyer's watching this podcast. I'm sure he is. Urban, from one Bishop Watterson grad to your son is a Bishop Watterson guy. So two Bishop Watterson guys talking here. Why don't you drive up, go up Route 23, take a book hook left on 90, take it all the way south Bend, Indiana. Get off that exit. Go by that Golden Dome, because I think Kelly is never going to leave the Irish, because I think he fits perfectly in there. He loves that job. He brings that school in money, and he wins 9 or 10 games a year. And it's hard firing a coach who wins 9 or 10 games a year. He's got the John Cooper stench, sadly, though. I mean, you don't think he's going to win the national championship, but you know every year 9 or 10 wins for Kelly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, as an Irish fan, we can do whatever the fuck it takes to get him in there, Urban Meyer. Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, but the rumors are once again swirling in regard to USC, my friend.
They want, you know what? Urban,
hey,
too hot.
Maybe that nice SoCal weather will do his head pain some good.
Well, here's the rumors we're getting at. Is there's two other things that you're starting to hear a lot more chirping about one, but I think you're gonna start to hear a little bit more. Would you take him as the Browns coach?
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see if he would take that job.
Holy shit. Yeah. You know what's funny is, I mean, we joked about this in regard to Jim Tressel forever, right? Right.
Tressel's not that guy.
Well, no, but you remember that time though. By
the way, Jared, you're not wrong.
5 or 6 years.
Jared, you're not wrong. I know you're going.
That conversation just would not let go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I take a shot on it because just like Beeline, you're talking about a Browns team that is young enough and needs some discipline, needs some identity that I think a college coach can help. Maybe I'm overstating this.
Well,
right?
I would,
but I mean, I would take a shot at it. And going back to the comment that we were talking about earlier from Facebook from EJ, regarding, we got folks asking about Mike Holmgren and all, jokingly, but I mean, that's where we're at again as Browns fans. It's where we are. Yeah, why not?
I think Urban Meyer's in play. I don't think Urban Meyer's wacky because
would Urban Meyer take it? Knowing,
I think he would.
Would his family let him take it?
You know what? That's a question for and by the way, I think that's more in play more than ever.
There's not a higher stress situation for a coach in the NFL.
By the way,
and to try and come into Cleveland and turn around a franchise that is 2 decades long, been getting their asses handed to them.
By the way, Urban, on 3rd and 4, who you put in the game, Chubb or Hilliard?
Oh yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Chubb. All right, you're good. Come on down. No, look, I'm making light of it.
You're right on that. You're right on that.
On 3rd and 4, what do you do?
He wouldn't.
What do you do? Huh?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Football
is football.
One more time.
One
more time. How the fuck is Nick Chubb not in the game on 3rd? Unbelievable. I will say, I think Urban Meyer.
Because he knows.
If it's not
again, he knows better.
Unbelievable. I've heard Urban Meyer to SC. I've heard Notre Dame. Paul Feinbaum's talked about it with Notre Dame and Meyer. There's obviously been some things too where Meyer said, commenting about being interested in the Cowboys job. I think the Browns job's another one. I think all those are in play. I think Urban Meyer rumors, like Lindor rumors, were swirl. Doesn't mean he's going in these places. But I would say again, don't be surprised if the Meyer name gets popped up in this job in Berea, Ohio. Don't be surprised. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. By the way, McCarthy too, but they treated McCarthy terribly in that first round of that process. So I don't know if he'll
but you know what? We don't know the details on a lot of that. So I wouldn't even take that into consideration yet. And on top of that, money changes all things. So
that's true. All right. So to recap. Oh, by the way, real fast.
Well, no, you've got a real fast, and I've got 2 real fasts, and then I've got a real fast because I have to go pee and go to bed. So we're gonna do that too. There's a whole lot of real fast going on right now.
Okay. Happy for the Nationals. That was great to see. I was really rooting hard for them to win. That was a great story. Happy for the Nationals. I'll just leave it up to for everyone to see. There was some interesting stuff going on today. The White House was Suzuki. You can check it out. Going on with Trump. That was a weird.
I'm gonna keep my comments to myself.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was weird. But Browns, it's the captain obvious. I think we're on the road again to changing coaches. I think we're on the road again to seeing things change up again, which is sad. Some of this is on Dorsey. Some of this is on Baker. Some of this is on the defense. Yep. Some of this is on different fractions of the team. But overall, the coach, again, is the main show here. I'm having a hard time finding reasons to keeping Freddie around. Again, for one overall reason, I don't see the development. I'm not seeing players develop on this team. I'm not seeing players get better on this team, aside from Chubb. Chubb's the one player who's definitely taken a leap forward. Yep. I'll be honest, I don't think it has anything to do with Freddie Kitchens, but you guys can debate that all you want. I think the other big thing here, though, is, Jared, the Browns, unlike the Cavs right now, it's hard rooting for the Browns at times. Outside of like an individual like Chubb or Beckham or Myles Garrett or Schobert, like guys like that.
You're not rooting for a team, you're rooting for some individuals.
That's right. That's right. So I think that's the bigger things here. All that to be said, Cavs are fun to watch, which is good. It's really I love Jared, and I love a lot of people out there who are Buckeye fans. As a non-Buckeye fan, yeah, you guys are really good, and it's annoying. And I'm
not one of those annoying Buckeye fans, though.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Not one of those people.
And by the way, I was really happy that Purdue beat Nebraska. That was great. I'm sure no one was watching. College basketball starts on Tuesday. Holtzman's got a much better team. Everybody and their mothers picking Michigan State to win national championship. They are. That team is loaded. They went to the Final Four last year. Michigan State is by far, Jared, the heavy favorite. They played in that classic. I believe they either played Duke or Kansas. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Duke this year they play. But anyways, Michigan State's the heavy favorite. Holtzman's team is ranked. Purdue's ranked in the low 20s. Purdue's going to take a step back this year. There's no Carson Edwards. But there's your early basketball. For people who don't know, I love college basketball. I really get into it. And I'll pick more games wrongly throughout the year and put it on the blog.
Andy, last things. I think we forgot to kind of address this, and we haven't talked about it in a while. Dan Gilbert seems to be doing better, according to the Cavs. That stuff is working out, and for him at least, it's a long process. You have a stroke, and Of course, we don't really get the full picture, and we only get the releases that come out of that team. But what I love that they did was sign Kobe Altman to that contract, and I don't look at that. I know some people have looked at it as a snub to Griff, for Griff not getting signed. It's been talked about, Andy. I think that team really needs stability in regard to just the situation with Dan Gilbert, and I think that's a big part of why that decision was made. And on the same hand, Kobe's done a really good job. So I'm glad that they spent the money this is the first time that Dan Gilbert this is the first time that he spent money to keep a GM in Cleveland, and that says a lot. That
says a lot. Real quickly on Griff, we all love Griff, and Griff is actually very kind and a very good man.
Absolutely.
Just remember, that was at a time of when LeBron was in town, when there were a lot more factions going on in the air.
Well, yeah, and he was a huge part of keeping Kyrie Irving on the rails, considering no one else can do it and has not been able to do it since Griff.
So just remember all that stuff. I think sometimes, and Griff kind of admitted in that article, he was exhausted from the championship. It was a great thing. Wonderfully, it worked out. It's not, I just don't think it has anything to do with Griff, and has everything to do with Kobe Altman.
You're right.
I agree. I think it's very separate.
All I'm saying is that the conversation is.
No, by the way,
I don't agree with it either. You're right.
Finding that conversation. I hear you.
Yeah. So there we are. It's been one hell of a show. I'm exhausted because here we are just dealing with another season of Browns disappointment. And none of us expected to be in this point 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago. There was a lot of hype. There's a lot built around what we thought was going to happen this year. We felt like we found our quarterback. We brought in talent, and we hired a head coach that we thought was young and innovative, especially when it came to calling plays offensively. And what we find ourselves in right now is a 2-6 hole with no identity, no team, different factions, as Andy has put it throughout this evening. And we had to cut a safety who decided to threaten lives and go after local sports media in a way that I have not ever seen. So there was a young lady today, to say the least. Yeah, there's a young lady on ESPN today who put it really, really well. I won't try to steal her thunder. Find it on Twitter. She was on the Get Up this morning, and she did a really nice job of putting it succinctly about Mr. Whitehead, what he's experiencing. I thought she did a nice job with that. So there it is. Shoot us an email, andyandjared@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @CLE and beyond. You can also check out our website, andyandjared.com or clevelandandbeyond.net. And don't forget, we are brought to you by Waiting for Next Year, original Cleveland sports reporting. Even when it breaks your heart, waitingfornextyear.com. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and beyond. We'll talk again soon.
After Sunday, it's going to be a big victory parade. Here we go Boilers! Basketball season's here.
Go Buckeyes. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs.
And go any distraction from the orange and brown.
Yeah, please. Go Brown.